Welcome to Chicago Independent Television, a collection of progressive video reports put together by grassroots media workers from Chicago and beyond. We are free from commercial and corporate support and influence. My name's Mia Park. We're here at the Chicago Vietnam Memorial. This commemorates soldiers who fought in a war that's being compared to the current situation in Iraq. In today's episode, we'll look at 3 stories having to do with the Iraq War: a protest against the Boeing Corporation, a mock impeachment of the president in front of the Art Institute, and we'll learn the story of a person who's tried to avoid recruitment for the war. Also, we'll check in with Chiditarod, a fun charity event. Stay tuned.
Hey, what's this about?
What?
Andy crossed the name off the cleaning schedule?
He backed out of the cleaning schedule.
How can you just back out? How can you do that?
Well, he's the most powerful roommate. Don't say anything about it. Just whatever you do, don't...
Hey, Andy, you're not gonna clean on Friday?
No, you mustn't.
Bathroom? Hey! That's reasonable. I'll do Friday as well.
Hi, welcome back. Now, we're going to learn about a Chicago indie media video activist who's protesting the company that helped put food on his table as a child. His father worked for Boeing, and now he's a protester of that company. Let's take a look.
There's no doubt about it that this is a world that is becoming increasingly worse by the day. And at this point, I think, personally, there are 2 ways you can go about it. Literally, only 2 ways. You can contribute to that and save your own skin, or you can try to make a stand against it in whatever small corner you exist in and hope that, one or a few people latch on and virally your message spreads that we need to change things. We need to make our world sustainable, and we need to make it one that works for everybody, not just for enormous corporations like Boeing that are making billions and billions of dollars off of horrible atrocities like war. What the protesters did is they arranged this protest against Boeing in kind of a fun manner. They sort of used the premise of a breakup, like a breakup in a relationship. You call your girlfriend, "Sorry baby, it's not you, it's me, blah 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 blah." Essentially, they devised a breakup letter that we would walk from Daly Plaza in downtown Chicago to the destination, the Boeing headquarters tower, a few miles away, and they would deliver this letter either to someone in person or from a phone outside. Naturally, we were escorted by the police. Your guess is as good as mine whether they were enjoying the party or not.
I say dump, you say Boeing, dump, Boeing, dump, Boeing. And I say dump, you say Boeing, dump, Boeing, dump, Boeing.
My father has worked for the Boeing Corporation for probably just about the last 30 years. He worked there throughout my entire childhood and continues to work there till this day. My dad was never a war supporter. In fact, both of my parents were pretty adamantly against the Vietnam War. My dad just wanted a job in aerospace engineering. Most Americans, it's living the dream. You want a job in something that interests you and something that's going to put food on the table and help you support a family. He's told me once or twice that they've offered him a position within the strategic defense division of Boeing, and he turned it down. My dad is a very peaceful man. He's very good-hearted, not the kind of guy who would willingly support a war profiteering company. The thing is when he started, their values sort of reflected his own. He's the kind of guy that believes in working for what you earn, and when the engineers union went on strike, he went on strike with them. He's always been right up there doing his job as hard as he can. The people that take it to the street are the people that I grew up with. They're the people that I've surrounded myself with through most of my life. They're the people who raised me. They are the people. They're the ones who I relate to the most on a human level, and I don't think that part of me will ever diminish, or I don't think I'll ever lose it. I keep an eye on where I spend my money, who I put my time in for, because I don't want to betray those people in any way, willingly or inadvertently.
Right now we're going to read this letter so that everybody can hear it here. We're also going to make a call to Boeing. I'm now calling the Boeing ethics line. This is the Boeing ethics line. Okay, I would like to read a letter to you from the people of Chicago. Dear Boeing, by the time you read this letter, our relationship will be over. We've been together since 2001, and even though we've had our misgivings about your behavior and intentions, we allowed you into our city with open arms. Since then, you've broken our hearts in more ways than we can tell you. Just a small sampling includes, you've been given over $54 million in tax breaks since you've moved to our city. Money that could have gone to improving education, healthcare, or public transportation. You're the world's second leading weapons manufacturer, profiting off the deaths of thousands and the destructions of homes and cities.
I think if companies like Boeing and other multi-billion-dollar corporations that are, chin deep in the profiteering off this war, I think if they stood up, took some responsibility, and refused to dedicate any more of their resources to the continuation of this war or any other war like it, then maybe the government would start to listen.
I'm Alejandro Molina, and you're watching Chicago Independent Television.
I see the soul of a nation, must be true, 'cause I've seen it on TV.
No entry. Hey, why is my room cordoned off?
Oh yeah, Andy is occupying your room.
Occupying my room? Why?
You have too many things plugged into one socket, maybe a space heater. He said it was a fire hazard, like an imminent threat to his room.
Andy, I don't have a space heater.
Look, I don't think he's going to say you had a space heater unless he had credible evidence.
I don't have a space heater.
What other reason does he have to occupy your room?
He's always wanted my bathroom.
That is deeply cynical.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, he's my roommate. I should trust him.
Hi, welcome back. Now we're going to take a look at a fun event that happened in Chicago a few months ago. The Chiditarod was a fun scavenger sharpen cart race that was also a food drive put together by Chicago's Burning Man participants. Let's have a look.
On a bitter March day on Chicago's west side, more than 200 would-be champions gathered in a deserted lot. 37 teams, 5 miles, and 1 goal. First place in the 2007 Chiditarod.
What is the Chiditarod?
Chiditarod is Chicago's urban Iditarod, or shopping cart race, in the true spirit of the Alaskan Iditarod. Except instead of dogs, we have people. Instead of sleds, we have shopping carts. And instead of the tundra, we have the frozen streets of Chicago, which isn't that far away.
Here we are.
David Simon of the band Environmental Encroachment said the event unites an alternative gift culture to gather canned food for donation. Amid the costumes and camaraderie, however, one self-described ragtag group from corporate America flew in under the radar.
The team captain for Corporate Dalliances over there.
Okay.
Our team mascot is a wild boar.
Wearing modest athletic gear and touting a cart sans decorations, Corporate Dalliance blended into the background amidst the lavishness of their competitors and ran away with the mahogany trophy. Here's how.
We'll see what happens. We've got some tricks up our sleeves.
Some tricks? Mm-hmm. And by tricks, do I hear sabotage?
Yeah, you might say so.
In what can only be described as controversial, Brian darted off to an early lead. However, Corporate Dalliance was ahead of the pack before the race even began, due to some rather dubious tactics.
Look at that right here, an official map of
the Roots, first step Cobra, second step J. Patrick's. I handed these out to everybody who was participating. What you might not know just by looking at it is that these are all the wrong destinations.
Greg's bogus map sent rival teams scattered across the west side of Chicago. Those not fooled got their wheels duct taped or their carts zip-tied, while the team cruised ahead. The race itself was simple, 4 checkpoints and a finish line. Each checkpoint was a different Wicker Park establishment. Each team was required to stop for 20 minutes at each bar to water the dogs. The first team across the finish line with 15 pounds of canned food for donation wins.
Think with our heads, run with our hearts. That's what we're doing right now.
Despite the lead, however, a miscommunication at checkpoint 3, the Pontiac Cafe, resulted in half the team leaving without Greg, their mastermind.
Well, the brains of our operation have gone missing. We're like a chicken running around without the proverbial feathers. Oh, here he comes running.
Here comes Greg.
He's going to go off in a dead sprint. Do that way, Greg. They're about a mile ahead.
Fortunately, a friend of the team's, Justin, has been following the squad and lends Greg a bike. Greg pedaled ahead to catch up with Brian, Rosa, and Paul while Eric hung back with Justin. A severe violation of the 4-dog to 1 sled rule.
As long as our card gets there and no one finds out about it until the race is over, we should be fine.
The lapse, however, has cost them. At the final checkpoint, they find themselves in second place behind the 2040 Bears. After considering a few of their old tricks, duct tape, zip ties, and misdirection, they decide drastic measures are in order.
Our final sabotage, we need to make up 3 minutes, and bribing the judges did not work. Oh. These judges are top honor.
Yeah. After stashing the Bears cart into a snowbank in the alley, Corporate Dalian stands poised for the victory. But there's still one obstacle in their way. Rosa feels fatigued and fears she may slow the team down on their final leg.
I'm taking the bike to the hideout, meeting them there. They got the cart and the food is already there.
Go for it, Rosa.
Sure enough, the plan works. The team initially claimed they raced a fair race, but with a microphone in his hand and the competition at his feet, Brian couldn't help himself.
A lot of people say that cheaters don't prosper. The proof is right here, guys.
It's such a relief. I mean, a lot of people talked about us not having the best cart or the most equipment. We had the biggest hearts, though.
So when does training start for next year? According to Greg, right now. Reporting from the 2007 Chiditarod, this is Matt Bigelow.
You're watching Chicago Independent Television.
I see the soul of a nation. Must be true, 'cause I've seen it on TV.
Hey, what are these dishes doing in the sink? I left a note for Andy to do them because they're his.
Oh yeah, he refused to recognize your note.
What? Why?
Because of its liberal bias.
Liberal bias? These are his dishes. He's using the note to deflect attention from the dishes.
What dishes?
These ones in the sink.
Wait a second. We're talking about your biased note. Don't try to change the subject.